Thanks, everyone. Good to see you this afternoon. The weather has calmed slightly, so I can't blame the weather for you being here. It's because you want to be here. My name is Malachy O'Connor. I'm a freelance consultant in the food industry. I work with lots of suppliers and retailers on strategy and commercial skills training. I'm talking about food to go this afternoon, and we've got a really interesting panel. Ian Lavin from Freshways, as the sandwich company and many other things. Michael Loughran from Donata, and they specialise in airline food. And then we've got Adrian Boswell from Selfridges. And I'm going to ask all of you just to give a quick introduction. Tell us about yourself and your business real quickly before we get into some good conversation on food on the go. Ian.
Thanks, Malachy. So, I'm Ian Mullen, Head of Food Innovation and Strategic Growth for Freshways. Freshways is Ireland's largest food-to-go producer. We produce approximately 30 million sandwiches a year, so quite a few. It's quite a few slices of bread. I suppose our core markets really are those retail meal deals that you spoke about earlier, Malachy. Food service operators, contract caterers, and we're also dealing with the cafe and the independent market as well. Everything from that value proposition that's a little bit more everyday to that super premium offer that we would have in really high-end independent cafes that maybe feels like it's made in the back of store, but it's made by us.
And everything you make is sold on the island, yeah?
Everything we make is sold on the island.
And you've got, 30, 40, 50 vans delivering every day?
32 vans delivering nationwide, Malin to Mizzen, 6 days a week. And we deliver on the 7th day in Dublin as well, because that's the primary market for food to go in Ireland.
Yeah.
Dublin, Cork, Galway, Belfast. That's kind of how it works.
Every day where the demand exists.
Yeah.
Super. Thanks for that, Ian. We'll come back to that now. Michael.
So, Michael Loughran, Head of Procurement and Sustainability for a company called Donata. Donata is a global brand, I suppose. We're in 6 continents, approximately 50,000 people working for us, but we're airline catering and retail. So we deal exclusively with a couple of airlines in Ireland, Aer Lingus, Emirates, and we do anything from an economy class meal up to, you may say, Michelin star first class meals. So we have upwards of 6,000 to 7,000 meals a day going out on our flights daily. And I suppose here this week to kind of get exposure to Irish suppliers and try and increase that exposure on the airlines going forward. Yeah.
And Michael, just one question whilst we're with you. Airline food, is it everything that's sold on the plane, or do you sell anything in the terminal?
We're
just
line? Purely airline at the minute in Ireland. We have other sectors across the globe that would deal with the lounges and stuff. But for now, it's just what's in the sky.
Yeah. Okay. Which is a lot.
Yeah. Which is quite a lot. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks for that, Michael. Adrian.
Adrian Boswell. I represent Selfridges in London. We have 4 stores. The main flagship is on Oxford Street, which is in London. We have 2 stores in Manchester, and then we have 1 in Birmingham. I look after what we call prepared food concessions, which is fundamentally street food concessions who we have to operate, and then obviously as well a lot of our fresh chilled offer. So thanks for having me. It's great.
Yeah, no, it's great to have you. So 4 stores, and my understanding of Selfridges was that it's very London centric now. Yeah, is that still the case? Like you've got
the flagship store in London is the most famous one.
Yeah.
It's the largest one that we have. As we was discussing earlier, from a food perspective, it covers all bases, so you could go in there and do your grocery shop as well. But the stores in Manchester and Birmingham are regional stores. Because they're part of larger shopping centres, they're more sort of casual dining, quick and go, food to go, and that's where we sort of take a lot of our money from the food perspective. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. We'll come back to that. So the first thing I wanted to explore with you all was around innovation. So, Ian, you're head of innovation.
Yes.
Yeah? And head of innovation in a sandwich company, but I know you do more than just sandwiches, even though that might be the bread and butter, literally. Tell us about what you've seen evolving in the last couple of years by way of innovation.
Yeah, okay, great question, Malachy. So there's a couple of really, really common trends that we're seeing right across the market at the moment. Protein is on everybody's minds. So everybody's talking about protein, everybody wants more protein, everybody's trying to figure out how they get protein into their diet. We back in 2022, actually, we kind of foresaw this, and in September 23, we launched a brand first to market in terms of a ready-to-eat proposition called Gym Fuel. Gym Fuel has been, to date, our most successful launch we have ever brought to market. In my 14 years in the history of the business, it is, and it's the most successful ever. It's continuing to evolve as well. So Gym Fuel started off 20 grams of protein in every single portion with calorie control and no reds on your macros. So no reds in terms of the traffic lights in front of pack. Since then, I suppose now what we've learned is the consumer is looking for more. They're looking for more functional benefits within different food propositions. So you hear people talking about fibre, you hear people talking about gut health, immunity. As we've come out of COVID and as people now really want to start to look after their health, they're really, really, really searching for these kind of products that not only taste great, because that's a non-negotiable. If it doesn't taste good, they're not going to buy into the proposition. They might buy it once, they'll never repeat. So taste has to reign supreme, but now they're looking for those functional added benefits that in every meal that they have throughout the day, they get their protein, it tastes great, but then they're also getting added benefits as well. The other thing that we're really starting to see change now is, and this is a really hot topic at the moment, is with the rise of Ozempic and Mounjaro and all these GLP-1 drugs, you're starting to see how consumers eat are completely changing. And what they're eating is completely changing as well. So people are eating less. They're physically eating less. And I spoke to an obesity consultant recently, and he said that his thought process was amazing. Weight loss into the future is going to be easy. They know so much about it now. They were out of the blocks too hard, and consumers were feeling nauseous with these drugs. And ultimately, where it's got to now is that everybody's going to lose weight, but they're going to have the cholesterol, the blood pressure, and the cardiovascular health of somebody who's morbidly obese. So now they've got new health problems that they have to treat. So in food and what people are actually going to be eating has to start to address some of these claims. So when we start to think about blood pressure, salt is the natural biggest one in there. So it's how do we get salt out? But again, we have to maintain taste.
But have we not spent the last 20 years taking salt out of recipes?
Yeah, we absolutely, absolutely we have. But there's still so many categories, and especially in our world as well. Salt is a functional ingredient in bread and in carriers for sandwiches, I suppose. And you just can't take it out. So you have to find new ways to be able to get there. So there's a science to it as well. The other thing, I suppose, what we're really starting to see is as consumers start to eat a little bit less, they're prepared to spend a little bit more as well. So it's that value perception. So consumers are not afraid to buy something that's a little bit smaller, but it could be premiumized, and premium doesn't have to mean truffled ham or anything like that. Premium can be protein. It can be that added health benefit. It's not that classic guise of exquisite fanciness that kind of can alienate people, actually.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. That's interesting stuff. Michael, what are you seeing by way of innovation? What are the trends you've seen?
So I suppose for us, we deal with a large number of suppliers on a daily basis, including Freshways. So we kind of expect our suppliers to come in with them innovation and MPD to us so we can present to the airlines. The airlines are looking for more and more, and we just need to bring, I suppose, that new trend to the table, and that's where the likes of partners like Freshways and other suppliers out there help us do that. They are supposedly experts in the food side of things, so they, better than us. We're the catering, we get it on the plane. But the supplier, and that's, it's looking for partners out there that can come to us with that next new trend that we can give to the airline. The airlines, as you know, have become quite demanding, and they want to present to the customer that in-flight experience that's the best experience they can give, so they can repeat the exercise. So from us, it's more around the suppliers delivering to us as opposed to us generating the innovation.
I'm curious, how important is the food on whether I decide to fly with one airline or another on a 5 or a 6 hour?
Quality of food is probably top of the list. We'll do anything from an economy meal up to a first class meal. but we can't compromise on quality of the food, and we would tend to spend a lot of time in the kitchens trying to improve on the quality of the food on a regular basis. Again, it's customer experience, what the customer is buying on the airline, how they feel like when they come off that airline, and that's really what the airlines, each of them, are expecting on a regular basis.
And can you demonstrate as a caterer for airlines? Can you demonstrate that a food offer which is demonstrably better than another competitor that actually builds loyalty and brand equity for the airline?
It's like we've recently done a new contract with a company called Frankenberg, which is improved on the offering to the economy class for Aer Lingus there, and we would do regular checks in with staff and crew, and we get feedback, and feedback is positive, and that's what kind of drives the next generation of the meal we're going to put on the plane. So it's high up there on the level of price. We all talk about price, but quality drives everything over price for us.
Yeah. And just before we move on to Adrian, then I'd love to know, what does the menu on an Emirates flight or an Aer Lingus flight, what does the menu look like now in 2025 versus 2020 or 2019? What are the big differences I would see?
Yeah, I'm only in the industry probably 12 months, but I know every year is changing. Like, we're working on menus probably 2 and 3 years out. We're kind of picking 27 and 28 menus. There've been test kitchens now.
Yeah.
So I'd imagine the changes have been quite significant, because the customers demanding it.
Yeah.
It's you're probably seeing that.
I think the crew are probably the most vocal when it comes to the airplanes, and the crew. Because if it's good, you hear nothing. But if it's bad, the crew are shouting about it, because invariably the crew,
an earful from the passengers.
They're either getting an ear from the passengers, or equally they're the ones eating it as well. You know what I mean? So if it's not good, you'll know about it. But if it's
very, very quickly.
Yeah.
Cool. Adrian, I just want to ask you so many questions about Selfridges and food. It's been a few years since I've been in the food hall. When I used to work up the road in Marks and Spencer's, I loved going in there. And I'm also conscious that there's 20 million people in London. You could put anything on sale and sell it. So tell us what's really kind of cool in Selfridges from a food and food on the go point of view right now.
It's interesting because it's quite a loaded question, particularly in our environment. It's quite different. So, as we alluded to, you had the advent of what we call sort of street food operators in London, which allowed customers to have much of a choice in terms of international cuisines and flavours. So that's one side of it, being able to replicate it. But then also, as we were discussing earlier, it's, how do customers still have that choice and those flavours, but in a quick, convenient format? Some people don't want to come into a Selfridges and sit down and be served, and they don't want to have to wait for someone to serve them over a counter. So we are starting to see a lot of these brands. I know we sort of named Itsu as one that sort of had a chain, and now they're doing pre-packed. We're starting to see some of the brands who would typically just be in the street food arena. They're now starting to look at it and go, actually, do you know what, this is something that we can provide. So you're getting some high quality Lebanese products, wraps already pre-packed, and salad boxes and shawarma wraps. There's another brand called Bread and Truffle who are now, they've got their own stores doing fresh focaccia Italian sandwiches. You'd go there, get it heated up and served, but now they're doing it in pre-packed format, servicing the food service industry as well. So there's a lot of that going on. And then there was something quite interesting that you touched upon, which is the health side of it. So, customers do want the flavour, they do want the taste, but they also want the health benefits as well. And the biggest point you made actually in terms of customers eating less, but will spend a little bit more, we definitely noticed that. And what we've also seen is then a shift into the drinks arena, where people are having sort of ready-made shakes, which may be layered with protein or with collagen to help sustain them throughout the day. And you're seeing a lot of people who are doing more fasting, so they're eating less. They're not necessarily having breakfast, or they're not necessarily having a dinner. So they have a shake just to sustain them before they have their one meal of the day as well. So it's it's an interesting landscape in London, because it's not just one element you're trying to cover. You're trying to cover a variety of different bases.
Yeah. And if you were backing a few winners right now, because different cuisines and different food trends come and go.
Yes.
Like, what are the 2 or 3 kind of waves that we can expect to see in Ireland?
Asia.
You'll probably see it a wee bit earlier in London.
Asia's massive, right about now. And what I mean by that is you break it down. So dim sum, we've got a brand called Din Tai Fung who just do amazing. Ramen noodles has been there for a while. It keeps bubbling, but it's still there. You've got the likes of Filipino coming through, Malaysian, Singaporean is going to be massive as well. Caribbean, that's on the rise. We just need to get our house in order, sort ourselves out. But the food is good. We just need a little bit more process behind it, for sure. And then you've always got the staples, Italian, Mexican tacos is a interesting one. And we have a lot of debate on whether it's soft shell taco versus hard tacos. But we feel that hard taco shells are the way forward as well. So there's lots of different things bubbling within that. But then outside of that, again, you're starting to get a lot of fusion as well. So you sort of get a Caribbean offer which takes inspiration from Asia. So they're using Asian flavors to spice up traditionally dishes. But it's a big melting pot. Yeah. But there's lots going on. But again, the biggest trend we're seeing is more on the beverage side at the minute, particularly with, and I'm not sure if there's any matcha shake bars in Ireland yet. There are, okay, yeah. I mean, phenomenal. It's unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable.
The demand, yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's incredible.
And no sign of that being like a one-hit wonder. It's not going to go.
Matcha, I'm unsure about. It's probably got about another year or two before it plateaus. And the reason I say that is because now it's just becoming a commodity. It's a thing. Everywhere you go now, you just have to have matcha on the menu type thing. But I think functional shakes and beverages. There's a company in America called Air One. I'm not sure how many people know about it, but they did a special shake with some famous lady I'm not cool enough to know about. But they sold the shake for like $24, and it was just going crazy, and it was viral. And that sort of, I believe that became, the energy behind this whole drink movement, because it's Instagrammable, it's bright, it's colourful. But what you can do is, again, you can pimp it up with whatever supplement you want. You can have it as a protein shake. You can have it with the extra collagen. You can have it with some vitamin D. You can have it with something. So there is that sort of shift within the younger generation where it's like, yeah, we will eat, but we'll eat a little bit less, spend a little bit more to make sure it's good quality. But actually, these shakes is definitely something that we're seeing a lot more, and a lot more brands coming through, for sure.
Interesting. Ian, I want to come back to something you mentioned earlier on there about additional benefits. And Adrian, I think you're touching on that as well, where you can get your shake and then add a little bit of what you think you need. Like, is there an anxiety among the populace that they're not getting what they need? Like, because previously you just had a balanced diet. No, but why is there that kind of anxiety around, I might not be getting enough of this or this specifically? Is that just marketing or what?
Yeah, I actually think it's more of a proactive approach now where the consumer's coming from. So actually what they're going is how can I do better? How can I be healthier in everything that they do? So they're constantly trying to make those little micro decisions throughout their day to be better, so that then when they choose to indulge, that they can go really indulgent, you know what I mean? So
what kind of caution to the wind?
Yeah, absolutely.
Have a heart attack with this?
Yeah, absolutely. So and I think what's really important there is you have to understand, I suppose, is it a convenience-driven purchase or is it an experiential-driven purchase? So that's one of the things that we do, is we kind of break it down. So is somebody rushing, they're in, they want to get their lunch, they want to get out, right? If you're going into Selfridges, you're not going in for a quick, convenient thing. You're going in because it's going to be amazing, you know what I mean? And it's going to be made in front of you, and you've got a few quid in your pocket to spend. Whereas if you're running into the shop, you've got to get back to the office, you have a meeting, you need to eat something, you need it to be tasty, you need it to be quick, you need it to not be a fail, you know what I mean? But within that decision, it's, okay, can I be a little bit healthier? Can I have best of both bread? Can I have extra fibre in it? Can I have less fat? That sort of stuff. So that when it gets to a Friday, I'm having the cheese toasty with the mocha with whipped cream, and you know what I mean? So really understanding their mission, and I suppose whether it's experience driven, whether it's a social engagement with somebody, or actually it's, I just need to get in and get out. Yeah. I don't need to go and stand at the deli. I need control. I need to understand what's in my in my lunch, so be it calories. Everybody's looking at different things all the time. So you might be looking at calories today, but somebody else is looking at how do I get 100 grams of protein into me in my 6-hour fasting window that I can consume, you know what I mean? Yeah. So everybody's different. Yeah. But ultimately what drives them to the fixture, you have to understand what gets them to the fixture. So really it's convenience. It could be a convenient location. They know the product is going to taste good. It's value perception for them. Value perception is a really interesting one, because what you've got to understand is value doesn't mean cheap. Value means, am I getting good value for money, for the money that I'm going to hand over at that particular time of day or that occasion? So what we've found is as we mentioned earlier, people will spend a little bit less. They'll spend a little bit more for a little bit less food. That's still value because there's maybe it's a little bit more premium in terms of what they're getting. So understanding what gets them to the fixture. So be it convenience, be it location, be it taste, be it the price that they're going to pay. Then you have to understand, well, what are they looking for when they get to the fixture? So you've managed to get them there. Now you have to meet their needs when they get there.
And that's very individualized.
Absolutely.
And what I'm hearing from Adrian is that the ability for a shopper then to personalize something that's available with a little bit of something that they feel they need more of.
Yeah,
that's interesting as well.
Adrian mentioned about matcha, right? This is amazing. We're doing a lot of work with coffee shops lately, independent and chains, and the highest users of coffee shops in Ireland are the lowest consumers of coffee. So coffee shops now have to come not coffee-led businesses. They have to become beverage businesses, or they have to become food businesses, you know. And it's the younger demographic really that are choosing not to have coffee, but they'll get up and they'll have 2 cans of Monster, and then they might have a protein ball, and they'll feel great about it because they're not taking in loads of calories. It's a crazy dichotomy, but that's the reality of it, you know.
Well, on the value discussion, Michael, the stuff that gets consumed on an airline, some of it is like included, like as part of an in-flight service. Some of it you can choose whether to buy it or not. How does value work there?
So value-wise, I suppose the airlines come to us with a proposal of what we put on the plane, and that's price-driven. But the consumer, it's part of the package they buy. We also have just recently taken over from a company called RIM, and we launched the Aer Lingus buy on board in the 1st of November. So that's where they get to choose the different price points. And it's interesting to hear Ian talking about choice. This will be quite a data-driven piece of work for us. So now the information coming back from the sales to say, that protein sandwich has worked and this bar has not worked, that's all going to lead to better consumer choice and the better mix for us on the airline. So that kicks off for us in first week in November.
So if there's a transaction in flight, you can get that data and see what's selling and what's not selling.
100%.
What about the stuff that's included in your...
That comes back from a bit like the crew we spoke about earlier on. We get information fed back from the staff on the flights to say what's working and what's not working. So there's a lot of work goes on in the background on a regular basis to make sure that the customer's getting the best experience they can on their flight. And that's why we're constantly changing menus like we do. Some airlines will change their menus every month, others are every 3 months, but it's a constant evolvement and constant change, and they're constantly listening back to the consumer, ultimately to make sure that we get the right fit for the next time we introduce a menu. So
when you're looking at kind of retail food and grocery trends, there's a lot of value. We talk about value a lot, but provenance has been just of incredible importance over the last 10 years, maybe 15 or 20 years even, and where food comes from. And it's not just, to some extent, if you're in the middle of a recession and you want to support your local industry, there's a little bit of economic nationalism around buying Irish or buying British or something like that. But the provenance of where food comes from and the really cool stories that come with those little unique little products, how do you embed that into an airline proposition?
So again, the buy on board we kick off in November. That's kind of kicks off, but for us, there's we'd like to see more provenance on the brochure to introduce, I suppose, the Irish brand. Again, I'm head of sustainability as well for the NATA Ireland, so making sure that our carbon footprint is reduced, that the air miles or miles for moving product around is reduced, is quite important. But it's also, we'll have a lot of product potentially can go onto these airlines with the stories behind them, we know where it's been produced, how it's been produced, and what's gone into producing it. And I think people want to read them stories as they're sitting looking at the brochure, and that's what sells.
So if somebody's paying a lot of money to travel from, I don't know, North America, a trip of a lifetime, going to find their roots in Ireland, they're on an Aer Lingus flight, getting unique products that you won't find anywhere else. That's part of the experience then, yeah?
I think so, yeah. I think, that's something we're going to look at building over the next couple of years as we take this on. But yeah, that's the experience.
And are you hunting for more artisan Irish type products then to get onto those menus?
100% we are, yeah.
We did a really cool project with Michael only in the last 2 months, whereby they came and they said, hey, we want to do something a little bit different in business class for Aer Lingus. They currently have a chocolate bar snack product that goes out kind of after the main meal. We kind of want to mix it up a bit. We want it to be more Irish. So we said, right, well, we've got a couple of great Irish suppliers. So we haloed one of them, Bretzel Bakery in Dublin. They started with one site, 14 years ago. They're now 3 sites. They got all sorts of accreditation. They've really grown as a business, but they haven't changed what they do. So now we create these lovely little mini rolls, 3 different flavors, 3 different types of breads. We put Bretzel in big shining lights all over the product as well. We're calling out the Irish ham in it, or the Janet's Country Fair relish, or that sort of stuff within it, and they're going on board. And now the customer on board on business is getting to pick them. So I think they're not just saying it; they are actually doing it in terms of they're looking for all of these different propositions to do something different. And it's such a competitive space, Michael, isn't it?
Yeah, and there's a unique opportunity, I suppose, for Irish suppliers to get onto that magazine, tell their stories, and we think that's what the customer wants. So, you know, we've really just kicked off, but we do expect that type of story to come back, and we'll see that coming back on the stats, and we should see it coming back on the information that's flowing back from the crew.
Cool.
So,
Adrian, I just want to talk to you about, like, I imagine everything that you sell in Selfridges has a story. Like, there's probably
for sure.
There's very little mass market stuff that you would have under your roof.
Yeah,
so, give me a couple of examples of products with cool stories, and describe opportunities for Irish suppliers as well.
Let's start with the stories. I mean, stories, they are, we would say, probably outside of the quality of the product, probably the most important part of the concept of the brand, what it is, because you both touched upon a word which is experience. That's the role of Selfridges in this. You know, we're not going to be able to compete with the supermarkets, but when you come here, you have an experience. And our team members, when we train them on products, they need a story to tell. So when a customer comes to the counter, they can actually sell this product not from a point of view of just about trying to make money, but actually talking you through the taste of the product, the reason this product is being produced, why it's being produced, where it's being produced, and you've got this whole history behind it. So, and that, we're a department store, so that's something that's within our DNA across the whole, whether you're talking about beauty, fashion, food, and everything. Sorry, remind me of the second question?
Yeah, just opportunities for Irish suppliers, because you're here, you're mingling.
Yeah. I mean, well, there's lots of opportunity with Irish suppliers. We've got a great history with Irish brands. I remember we did a Delicious Island project. We worked with Sheridan's. They consolidated. They bought a lot of stuff off. We turned those store green, and it was just fantastic. The energy was buzzing. We've worked with the likes of Burren Smokehouse, Frank Hederman, and all of these guys over the years. It's just seemed, so from an ambient point of view, it feels like there's consistent opportunity, and there will be, because you've got the shelf life and you've got people already doing it. The biggest challenge you've got for a brand like us, again, we're not a supermarket, so we don't have the volume to get pallet loads through, is how do we take some of these smaller artisanal producers, and how do we unlock and find a solution in terms of being able to get them distribution into the UK, so we can give you a platform. We've been speaking with the Twin Brothers, Happy Pair.
yes.
Yeah, they've done a great job in being able to. I mean, their range, the depth of range is amazing. But they've been great because they've managed to strike up a relationship with the distributor we work with, so we're having conversations with them. So the logistical solution part is very tough. If we can nail that, there's loads of opportunity for sure. That's why I'm here.
Cool.
That's why I'm here.
Cool.
I'm trying to fight
Yeah, no, I
the
can
fight.
see it. Viv, how are we doing for time? Do you have time for questions? Yeah. It's such a wide topic.
Don't all shout at once. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Joanne Cronin. I'm a food writer and also a frequent flyer, I suppose, through my day job. And I do love it when I'm on Aer Lingus and other flights and I see an Irish product. I actually get excited. I'm like, this is what it's about. That tail fin, the shamrock, means so much to me as a frequent flyer. So what I want to ask is, for producers who are here today and around and who might have an idea for a product, how can they go to you and pitch it to you? Like, bearing in mind what the airlines need from a food standard.
So my door is always open.
Buyers say that. Sorry, I'm going to come.
Always open, yeah.
Buyers say my door is always open, and then they never give anybody their mobile number.
My number is always available. We've done a burn balsamic here in front of us. Is a kind of an example of what we've done. We have a new product launch with these guys on the 1st of November. It'll be on the magazine. It's kind of worked in collaboration with a few bits and pieces, but we're delighted to have it on board. It's an Irish product. I think it'll do really, really well. But that was a concept that we kind of discussed. We will take time to put these concepts through because we have to go through different channels before they get signed off, and there's a lot in it, as you're well aware, Ian. But yeah, look, just contact me. I'm open. I've a new it's a new venture for us. I have a new team starting up. Full team will be in place in January. So if you can't get me, there's always someone else. But it's that drive to get that product, the Irish product. It's I think that's what I would want to see on the brochure if I'm coming home from the States or coming home from Europe or wherever it is, that there's a product there that reminds me of home. Yeah. And I think that the tourists want it as well. So
I would say just on that one, if you're struggling to get in contact with somebody, LinkedIn is really, really useful because they're all on LinkedIn. And generally, there's very few people who won't answer a direct message on LinkedIn, so don't be shy about that. Then the other thing I think was just like guerrilla style. If you were thinking, how do I get in touch with Selfridges? If you go into Selfridges, you'll find other Irish products there. Or into any retail chain anywhere in the world, you will find other Irish products, and then you're not making a phone call out in the cold to a big scary buyer. You're actually talking to somebody from your own industry, from your own country, and they'll tell you how their logistics solutions or who they spoke to or whatever.
I work closely with Matthew here from Subu Connect as well. So, we have a collaboration there, which probably brought us into the balsamic collaboration as well. So, if I'm not contactable, Matt will make sure I find or get that product in front of me. So there's a couple of different ways to.
I'd probably add to that, Joanne. I think there's probably one other thing as well, that it's one thing making the connection and being able to speak to somebody, but actually having a vision for how that product could be used is so important. Because I could have 10 people a week ringing me saying, hey, I've got this product, and it's like, okay, great, send us in some samples, we'll have a look. But I've got this product, it would be amazing in a toasty, in a cafe range, or I've got this product, it would be amazing if we were to have it as a snack product in a retail meal deal. We've done some concepts, I'd love to show you. That to me is, okay, now these guys have thought a little bit more about how we could use the product. They're starting to understand our business a little bit more as well. So then it's not just starting from scratch, you're already 20% up the ladder because you've got a concept or an idea ready to go, but you've also got the vision to say, hey, I think we can go here. You might never go there, you might end up going all the way over there, but at least it's a conversation starter to show that you've demonstrated a bit of thinking around their business or whoever the buyer is you're talking to, and that'll land a lot quicker, because anybody who does that to me, straight away I'm like, yeah, great, sounds amazing, yeah, let's try it, love to have a go at that, because that's what I do to Michael. When I go in and I say, Michael, I've got this great product, and here, I think it'd be brilliant on business class, and and his team are like, okay, brilliant, yeah, because at the end of the day, we need solutions as well for our customers, as does Michael, as does Adrian, so ultimately the easier you can make our job in terms of that vision, the greater a likelihood it is to get there, rather than starting from scratch.
Hi, my name is Bridie from Taste for Success SkillNet, and we help fund some of this program and the training and stuff. And just on all three of your points, just to pick up on brand, the story, the ownliness, the opportunities. Some of what I'm hearing now, and I think you may have referred to somebody who can bring that link into the connection. Where do people go? Where do they go to get linked in with you guys, as opposed to LinkedIn itself? But it's that whole process, and I think there's something there from the taste perspective, Malachy and the team. How can we help these people get their product in front of you guys with their story and their brand? Because those are some of the things we see that are missing. And we had it earlier from Onions Chocolates, who's just rebranded after 25 years, understanding your ownliness. And we have programs and we have people on the panels that can help with that. But also, I was at the Irish Drinks Forum 2 weeks ago. We know that the American market is a real challenge now for a lot of the Irish brewers and distillers. And so we're looking at how can we help them genuinely link in with those who are in the logistics businesses in South Korea, in China, in India, and and in other places where they can get their product and broaden their client. So I think that there is an opportunity and a gap that we might just look at just from listening to the huge opportunities there are. But we know, and I know from working with so many SMEs, artisan producers, it's where do they go next and how do they present themselves on that. So, but you're saying there's plenty of opportunities. I fly Aer Lingus and Air New Zealand. What I see on Air New Zealand, my husband's a Kiwi, they tend to really promote the locality of where the wine and the food is coming from. They do a really good job in their menu, even on their economy class, which I have to fly quite often. So it is really important, but people love to buy and support their country. They really do want to do that. So I think there's some good things we can take for another programme out of this. So thanks ever so much.
Yeah.
Cool.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay. I think we shall wrap it there because we could talk all night.
Thanks,
Ian,
Malachy.
Michael, Adrian, thanks very much for your time.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Malachy.
Oh, no worries.
Cheers.